afterward. We're going to reserve the time for Lair to go through the presentation and then field questions from the chat box afterward, after his presentation is done. And Laura, if you wanted to introduce yourself and Tri-Counties and what we offer to the members.
Well, my name is Laura Halverson. I'm the Executive Vice President of Tri-Counties. I want to thank everyone for coming today. We are your resource and your association, and we have a ton of resources on our website that you can go and look at. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to Lair so he can start his presentation.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Christine, and thank you everybody for joining. It's really exciting to see you all here this morning. My name is Lair Pierce. My job on Brookside is to be the community relations person. That means it's my task to explain this project to the community, answer their questions, and also look for people who might support us when we go to public hearings. So I'm thrilled by this opportunity to talk to you, and I think that you'll like what I have to show you. I'm going to go ahead and let you stop looking at me and start looking at Brookside. So now hopefully you're looking at the title slide that says Brookside. The property, as Christine said, is the old Brookside Equestrian Center in Walnut. That runs, if you're not familiar with it, from La Puente to Meadow Pass along Lemon Avenue on one side and San Vicente, Broken Lance, Rim Ridge on the other side, with Meadow Pass Heights just to the west of us. And you can see in these pictures, it's quite an exceptional site. There are the old equestrian buildings, particularly the main stable building, which there's a lot of fond memories about in the community, and then other equestrian areas on the site. There's also this beautiful Lemon Creek flowing right through the middle of the property that makes it so tranquil and wooded and quiet and unusual for the urban setting that we live in. Our plan for the project, as you'll see on the next slide, is to concentrate our development where the site has already been developed for equestrian use so that we can preserve the open space for public use. And our plan is 42% open space. So we've been able to accomplish that in our planning. And here is the site plan with the 28 homes located on it for you to see. They're nicely sized lots. The lots average 18,200 square feet. The largest lot is 32,900. The smallest is just a shade under 15,000 square feet. The homes aren't designed. We're not sure how big they're going to be because there's a city review process for the home design and the architecture. We're guessing there will be someplace north of 5,000 square feet typically. I'm not sure if the city will let us go to 6,000 or not. But a number of the lots have enough room for a 6,000 square foot house if it's permitted. As I said, 42% of it's open space. That includes not just the Lemon Creek area, but also buffer open space along Meadow Pass and Lemon Avenue. There'll be more trees when we're done than there are now. We will have to remove some nice trees to make room for the houses, but we're under an agreement with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, which says that for every non-native tree that we remove, we have to plant one tree and on the site. And for every native tree we remove, we have to plant 3 trees. And they specify how big they are. They're not twigs, they're pretty good size. So when you look at the site plan and you see all these little trees around here, that's not just the illustrator having fun with the tree function. Those are actual tree locations that we have found so that we can meet our tree coverage requirement from California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So this is going to be a remarkably wooded neighborhood because of those requirements. And We will have a Brookside Park, which I talk about in 2 slides, and a Brookside Trail, which I talk about in 1 slide. I maybe should have reversed that bullet a little bit. And then the whole thing will be managed by a homeowners association because of the common properties that are in it. So this is the trail system, and I'm sure you've seen, especially if you sell homes in Walnut, which has a great trail system, how popular an amenity that is. I've seen surveys that new home developers do where trails are consistently the #1 amenity that home buyers want. So we're happy that there are trails there. The trails there that are there now are privately owned by us, but Jack Sue, the developer, keeps them open to the public. But when we are approved, we will transfer ownership of the trails to the city. I believe the HOA is going to maintain the trails under the agreement as it now stands, but we'll see how that finalizes. You can see the before and after there on the right. So they will be improved. They're not improved now. They'll get a granite sub base, and they'll get the wooden fences that you see throughout Walnut. And they connect to existing trails. So someone can come down from the trail along Meadow Pass and do this and go out, this trail. If they wanted to, they could come down this way, come up and walk down our streets, and then come back up this way to the trail. And obviously the people who live there have easy access to the trail through these access points that we've provided. The trails will be open like any city trail, dawn to dusk. Then this is the vision. It's not quite a plan yet, but it's a vision for what's going to happen to the stable that's on the property. There are a lot of people in Walnut who have very, very fond feelings for the stable. Their kids took riding lessons there. They got married there. A lot of people think it's a historic building. A lot of people think it was in the movie National Velvet. Neither of those are true, but that doesn't diminish the emotional pull that this building has with a lot of people. So from the beginning of our planning, we've been working to figure out what best to do with the stable building. And initial thought was that Jack Sue, the developer, would refurbish it and it would become his house. But when the structural engineers got a hold of it, that idea proved to be infeasible. This building was built 80 years ago for horses, not for people. So it doesn't meet fire code or earthquake code, safety code, ADA. It doesn't have a solid foundation. If you walk out there and look at this post and this beam, there's nothing holding them together but gravity. And that just doesn't meet code nowadays. So the structural engineer's suggestion was to, if you want to keep it, you have to tear it down and you have to rebuild it to code. So right now where we are is we have that information. We have this vision for it in which we would rebuild the building using as much of the existing material as possible to capture the look and feel of it, dedicate it as a small park. The park has, you can just see right here, there's a small parking lot, then there's a small gravel area, then there's the building. We don't think the building can be used for meetings or anything like that. It's just, it would take way too much to get it to that level. And it's not really our idea to have meetings in the middle of our neighborhood. So we think just having a visual place, a nice quiet spot where you can reflect, you could have a picnic, you can remember the stable is probably the best solution. It connects, there'll be a trail connectivity here, so you could park in the parking lot and go to the trails. So it'd be pretty nice. We spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on this, and we've talked to the stable folks, the equestrian folks in town, and we're hopeful that this idea will be a winner. So that's one of the issues that slowed this down. It's taken us 5 years to get to City Council. This is one thorny issue that we've worked really hard to resolve. And the other thing that slowed us down is that we're asking for a zone change from the R1 zoning that it is to a conditional use permit. and I'm not going to spend much time on this, but the only reason I'm showing you this is I want to be honest with you about how the community feels about our project. And some of the people in the community are just stuck on R1 zoning and they want us to go with that. This is what it looks like if you do that. The houses are still, you get bigger lots, but the houses are still tucked together along the street. And then you get these large private lots that cover the open space. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to have the open space public. We could have drawn our property lines like this and done R1 zoning and yielded about the same number of homes, but we wanted it to be public. So we asked for a conditional use permit to allow us to have a smaller lot, even though our lots are still, 18,000 square foot on average. And then that would allow us to make the public space, the open space public. We think it's a far superior plan. We have to give stuff to the city in order to get them to do this, like more open space. They only require 20%. We're giving 42%. And we hope that they will agree with this, because we think it's ends up with a better streetscape, a better plan, a better neighborhood than if we were to have to do this type of approach to the planning. So those are the two issues. Now, I'm sure the reason why you joined the call today wasn't to hear about R1 zoning, but to take a look at what the houses might look like. So let's get on with that. This is a potential streetscape. This is not architecture. This is planner's work. What we asked them to do is to look at the required setbacks, look at the requirements for lot area coverage, and draw us what might be buildable there so that we could have an indication of what it would look like. On the top row of houses, this is more what the area along Meadow Pass would look like, where the land is flatter. And then the lower image is more, there's a bridge that goes across Lemon Creek, and this would be the south of that bridge going down towards La Puente, where there's more slope, and you have to deal with slope setback regulations, and you get more space between the houses. So this is an indication of what we're hoping to see on the site once architecture is done. And then we asked our planner to put together a board of images that would show through photographs more what we're looking for. And this is that board. I think a couple of the houses may be a little more grand than what we may end up seeing there. So maybe look more at the architecture than the size on a couple of these. But if you look at, like in this image, how wooded it is, that's the sort of thing we're looking for. We're looking for a high quality of finish on a really attractive piece of architecture that fits in well with the sort of wooded setting that we've got. We will have a bridge that connects the north and south part of the parcel. By the way, the bridge is interesting. It would be far less expensive for us to just put an entrance on La Puente and serve those houses from La Puente, and then put an entrance on Meadow Pass and serve the north houses from that, and not spend all the money and all of the permitting headaches on the bridge. But Jack Sue wants a neighborhood. He doesn't want two neighborhoods. And he's willing to put that expense on his pro forma, because he really does want it to be tied together. If we were forced to go to R1 zoning, I think the first thing that would go would be the bridge, unfortunately, just because of economics. But you can see if we do get to build it, it's going to be a very, very nice feature. Again, we're showing the horse trails. And then, we'll have a combination of the natural open space. And again, there's very few places, around here where we get this kind of natural open space right in our communities. And then we'll also, though, have, the HOA managed, more colorful open space that accents the community nicely. So I'm not a realtor. My wife was one for a while and did a pretty good job at it. And one thing that she used to do was take potential buyers through the nicer neighborhoods in town to get them familiar with what the town was like. I think this is the kind of neighborhood that you're going to drive your potential buyers through, to introduce them to Walnut, to show them what a nice town Walnut is and what nice houses are there, and the open space and the connectivity and all of that. So this is where we are now as we get ready. We're already approved by the Planning Commission, and now we're ready to move to City Council. And I've presented to you what we have on the eve of going to City Council. We still have a few things to negotiate before we get there, but we're getting quite close. So this is what we can offer you as realtors. First, there are some potential for new home sales opportunities. We don't know how the homes are going to be built yet. Jack could partner with a company like Shea Homes or Taylor Woodrow, and they would build the homes, in which case whatever co-op plans that they have in place would be available to you. They might be developed as custom homes, in which case there would be custom lot purchase or potentially custom lot sale opportunities available to you. Also, obviously, resale opportunities. These homes will flip from time to time, and there'll be some pretty nice commissions there when they do, because these will be, kind of the top of the, near or at the top of the Walnut market, I hope. And then there are the trickle down resales, and I'm sure this is something that you're familiar with. The research that I've done shows that when a new home sells, typically about 3 resales occur. Obviously, somebody sells their house to buy the new house, then somebody will sell their house to buy that house, and somebody will sell their house to buy, the second house in the chain. And typically it's about 3 resales that happen. Now, if all of those were to happen in this market area, it would be over 80 resales in the immediate market area, but that won't happen. People will come from farther away. Typically a significant amount of the people who buy a new home live within 5 or 10 miles of the new home community, but there are always people who live farther away and will be out of your market area. But some percentage of that 80 plus resale homes will be occurring within 5 miles, 10 miles of Brookside, and will be opportunities for you. Then there's the enhanced image for Walnut that I talked about on the last slide. I think that this neighborhood will be something that lifts up the image, especially since you get all this and you don't get much traffic at all. Because we only have 28 homes, the city's traffic study shows that we generate about 270 car trips a day. And at the busiest hour, the afternoon peak hour, we generate 28, which means every 2 minutes, a car will come or go from Brookside during the busiest hour of the day. So, you get this enhanced image for Walnut without the detriment of a lot more congestion that we all see as a negative. And then I'm just a believer in, floating all the boats. The high tide floats all boats. And I think that, the introduction of a nice new neighborhood into a town uplifts the town. It can, I've seen studies that show that new homes will raise the appraisal value of nearby similarly sized homes. I've asked my neighbor who's an appraiser to confirm that to me, and he hemmed and hawed. So in the interest of truth telling, I'll tell you that too. But I'm a believer that a nice new neighborhood lifts up a whole community. So we have one more hearing ahead of us. And I know from what happened at Planning Commission that people who don't want any new homes in Walnut, people who want the stable to stay as is, even though it's not safe, and people who want R1 zoning are going to turn out and speak against us. So I'm looking for people who are excited about this and want to speak in favor of it. And I hope you like the illustration. I always did a handshake before. Now I'm doing an elbow bump. Here's how you can help us. It's very easy to send an email to the city saying that you support the project. In fact, I will send you one after this call that you can send in if you want to. It's also very easy nowadays to speak in support at a public hearing. You used to have to go to city council and sit in a crowded meeting room and wait until your name was called to give a public comment. Now with one of the very rare upsides of COVID, you log on to an online meeting and you say you want to talk, and you do whatever it is you're doing until you hear your name called, and then you mute your TV and give your testimony, and you're done. So it's a very easy thing to do. And I hope that some of you may consider doing that. If you do, I'm happy to work with you on comments. We're also just, if you can let us know other people, if you know buyers who might be interested in this, usually our strongest supporters are the business community and potential home buyers. If you know buyers who might want these homes, let me know. I'd love to talk to them, and they could send an email, really help us out, or speak at the hearing. And if you'd like me to give this presentation to your office or to your church group, or 5 people on a Zoom, whatever, I'm happy to do it. I'm just looking for more people who think that this is a good idea and would be something that would help Walnut and help the local real estate market. So I will be sending out an email. I'm not sure if it's going to come from me or it's going to come from Christine, but please watch your inbox. And there's my contact information. Feel free to contact me separately from the Q&A if you want to. And we can talk. And now we're back to everybody. Thank you so much.
So if you have any questions, feel free to put in the chat or raise your hand and we can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself for this portion of the follow-up as to questions people might have. You sold them, Lair. There's no
Yeah.
questions here.
I wish I could direct you to the Brookside website, but we talked about it and we just decided, it's a small project. It's a neighborhood thing. We didn't want to go that big and fancy. We just wanted to talk to people. So talk to me if you have questions. Don't go to the website because we don't have one.
So Caesar has a question. When do you think construction would start? Well, that would depend on after city council going there and getting approval, right?
Right. We have, I had a call yesterday. We still have a couple things we're negotiating on the development agreement, but we're quite close. So if we go to city council in February, optimistically, March, maybe more likely, and we are approved in a hearing or two, it typically takes about a year to do the wrap up permitting. You've got to go to specific, more highly detailed drawings to get your grading plan done and things like that. That can take up to a year. And then we'll phase the development. I believe we'll be starting on Meadow Pass. And then that part of the project could start being built, say, just after the rainy season next year, if everything goes quickly. And models then could be open later that year. It could be pretty quick.
So we have a few questions. Betty did mention or asked about this presentation. So yes, to reiterate, it is being recorded. It will be posted on the Tri-County's website 24 to 48 hours after. Lair's information will be provided to follow up with him specifically. And then George has a question as to the price range.
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks, George. We're actually precluded by state law from stating prices until our CC&Rs are approved by the Department of Real Estate. So plus pricing is dependent on market conditions at the time. We all hope that the market conditions will be stellar when these homes come on the market. All I can say, George, is, look at nice houses in the 5,000 plus square foot range. And we're going to have to be priced competitively to attract buyers. So that's unfortunately the best I can do. But if you let me know you're interested, we can put you on an interest list and keep you informed as we move forward and get closer to those sorts of decisions being made.
And I think Cindy, I'd asked her to unmute. She's been involved with the school board locally and had some questions about that as well.
Sure.
Hi, Mr. Pierce. I'm sorry, I don't have my picture there, the video on. I'm really interested. I actually live down the street from this Brookside location off of Lemon and La Puente Road. So
Okay.
as a realtor, I'm excited about the opportunity, but I'm also on the board of trustees for Walnut Valley Unified.
Right.
And so the different hat is, of course, we're looking at ADA, new students, because we are on a declining enrollment.
Yeah.
So, and I happen to know every single council member for the city of Walnut, and some of the planning commissioners. But I wanted to maybe talk to you offline a little bit about what we can do to support the project. Maybe from a school district standpoint, because these would be students for us into Walnut Valley Unified. And actually was just spending time with one of the council members yesterday, helping his daughter to find a home in the community. And we actually talked about Brookside.
Oh, great. Well,
Uh,
thank you so much for that. That's got my heart beating faster. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, I was just looking at looked up school section of the EIR, and I didn't get a chance to quite finish that task the other day, but yeah, we will be generating new students, and Walnut's not it's like everyone. They have a declining enrollment, and students are where you get revenue with the reimbursements from the state. So plus, Cindy will be paying school fees too.
yes,
I don't know what the Walnut school fee is. I know in LA Unified, it's like $4 a square foot for the new homes that we have to pay. It's probably something like that in Walnut. So if you take 5,000 times 28 times 4, that's what our school fees will be, and you can use those for facilities improvements in the district.
yes, we call them developer fees.
Yeah,
And we're lower probably than LA Unified.
that's funny. We call them school fees, and you call them developer fees.
Call them developer fees. We don't care. It's money for our school district, and we'll take every penny we can get. So,
Well, Cindy, could you just type your contact information to chat, and I'll get back, or you can give me a call. Either way.
okay, sure. Yes, I wrote your phone number down. So
Okay, great. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you.
okay, great. Thank you.
And I think it highlighted a good information and good resource for all of you on the call. RPR offers a variety of information relative and reports about the cities that you are active in. And so you can go and pull that information down. It gives you a variety of information from demographics to school systems to market rates. And that is, again, RPR is offered to you all as members and a great resource. And it's something you can always include as part of your listing presentation or working with the buyer. And so we can also get that out as to the information relative to each of the areas that you represent. Specifically in this case would be Walnut, but that's a good resource for you all as a reminder too. I think, do we have any more questions, or we?
I don't see any. I don't see any hands
An
raised.
hour to make money today then.
So there is a question from how likely the landowner, Jack, would be in getting a national builder to cooperate with this development. Well, I think isn't it, I think you'd mentioned this, it's at the phase where it sounds like it would be a small project. Still, he's not likely to seek a national builder to come on board. Is that correct?
I haven't heard that discussed specifically. I do think it, just from my experience, it might be easier for him to go with a family-owned type of builder like a Shea Homes, for example, which is headquartered in Walnut, would be an obvious example. They build a nice house. But the nationals, I just did a project for a national, and they are looking for land too. So I'm not sure how that would end up. It's also, by the way, he spells his last name just S-U, not HSU. So.
And Sarah had a question. Good morning. How many properties will be built? Well, I think that we went through that, so you must have
Right.
missed it. So this
It's 28, and the prices aren't going to be set until they go to market, because we don't know what the market's going to be like, and we don't know even how big the houses are going to be, because there's a city review involved in that. We think they're probably going to be more than 5,000 square feet, but we can't say for sure until we get our full city approvals.
And I think for all those on the call who it may not be well versed in the city process, this is still very early on in the game in terms of the development process. Shovels aren't ready to commence, but
No, we were approved by the Planning Commission, but we still have to be approved by the City Council. And then after that, there's a whole architectural review process that is a public process at the city that we have to go through to get the actual plans for the homes approved. And we have grading permits to get and stream bed alteration permits. There's a whole lot of steps to go yet before we can actually begin working on the project.
and I think
Physically.
Mel on the call here is ready to join us with his background. He has a nice background that's tailored to this proposed project. It's very aligned. We like your background, Mel. Thumbs up. Well, I think unless we see
Yeah,
any
that's nice.
comments or chat, we will, again, this will be posted. We will send out, get Lair's information, or let me just, do you want to just tell your phone number again, Lair, and your email?
Sure. You see my name there on the screen, Lair, the weird spelling, L-A-E-R. That's my email address, laer@laer.com. If you have a hard name, try to make your email address simple. And my phone number is 949-683-3360.
Great, and so people can follow up, and we appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and just a reminder, everybody, those who got into this presentation late, and if you missed anything, this will be recorded, and it is gonna be on the Tri-County's website under the education page. And it should be up, what's today, Thursday? It should be up hopefully by the end of tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.